Well, we got some good violent Christmas fare this holiday season. We just reviewed Violent Night last week, I think. Now we got a brand new bona fide horror movie called Christmas Bloody Christmas. Holy crap, we're gonna review it. Let's go. Christmas Bloody Christmas stars Riley Dandy, Sam Delich, and is directed by Joe Begos. What's up, guys? Brand new 2022 review. This one was unexpected. I literally just heard about this movie, I think like last week. The trailer immediately caught my eye. It's called Christmas Bloody Christmas, directed by Joe Begos. He directed Bliss, which is a movie that I saw earlier this year, which I thought was very good, actually. And he also did VFW, which I haven't watched that yet, but a lot of you have told me I need to watch that. But we're here to talk about Christmas Bloody Christmas. I freaking love Christmas horror movies. As a matter of fact, why not get in the spirit? Anyway, guys, holy crap. I'm at a loss. This movie...
You need to give me a gun!
You know, I go into any movie with tempered expectations. I try to keep myself calm, but I'm just gonna go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and say this is probably one of the best Christmas horror movies I've seen in ages. It might be in my top 3 because I'm sitting there going down my list, because also there's not too many amazing Christmas horror movies, even though there's quite a few good ones. It's great. It's really great, and I didn't expect that at all. So before we dive in, let me give you a quick plot synopsis. Our two main characters are Tori and Robbie. Tori is Robbie's supervisor. That is established, and they work in this record store, which right away you got my attention because I love records, and I don't know why you guys can't see it, but I have a record collection over there. They're just shooting the shit, you know, like you would do if you worked in one of these places, talking about music. Right next door or down the way, there is a toy store, and we'll see on the TV that there is a recall on this life-size Santa, this animatronic Santa. There's a defect, okay?
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
New animatronic state-of-the-art Santa Claus, featured at our own TW Bunkers, is now the subject of an international recall.
Think shopping mall. And they are, you know, there's one of them that is let loose. We don't know if more than one is. I was wondering if that was going to be the case. This will be a non-spoiler review. But this particular one gets loose and all hell breaks loose. So that's your basic plot. It's a menacing robot Santa Claus that can't be stopped. I guess kind of going chronological with you, because the thing that really jumped out at me immediately was just these characters, Tori and Robbie. There's this undeniable chemistry, and you can tell that there must have been a lot of prep work with the dialogue, because there's a lot of it in this movie. Immediately, I was thinking of movies like Clerks, where, you know, that's a very dialogue-driven movie in a specific location, that being a convenience store. Well, this is a record store. In a movie like this, you would think that they would just kind of keep it at a base level, set the story up with the characters, and then get on to our main antagonist. But they spend a good portion of this movie, almost Tarantino style, just really watching these two characters shoot the shit and just be so charming and real. That's the big thing. A lot of times while I'm watching this movie, the acting just felt so natural and so real, and you could tell it felt like, you know, there was a lot of preparation and rehearsal.
I was potentially gonna go meet up with a dude. I've blown him off twice already, so.
Come on, get a drink with your old pal, Robbie.
What's up with you two?
Just grabbing a drink.
I talk her out of some Tinder trash.
You didn't talk me out of anything. To Christmas!
To Christmas!
Humbug.
And I gotta say, Tori and Robbie are really great characters, and you know, you immediately want them to not only survive this ordeal, but also you kind of want them to hook up, even though she's his boss. But you know, it's just that chemistry, and she even has like this date set up, and he like talks her out of it, kind of using the back door and saying, "Hey, let's not go out on a date. Let's just be friends." And, you know, shoot the shit so you don't have to go through all this bullshit. We're already friends. Like I said, I love stuff like that. And it was so good that I knew that there was going to be a killer Santa along the way, but at least I wasn't bored waiting for that stuff to happen. So when it does happen, it gets really crazy. And you just care about them so much. And also one thing I loved about these characters, it's almost kind of like Before Sunrise, how you're following these two characters along the way. And they're just having this great, irresistible conversations about like pop culture and music and movies. And there's quite a bit of name dropping. And you know, if you're a fan of movies like Black Christmas and you know other 80s horror films, then you're really gonna enjoy this type of stuff. So anyway, diving into the Killer Santa portion of the movie, and yes, we've had other Killer Santa movies out there, quite a few actually, I think. Silent Night, Deadly Night being the obvious one. And you always want to kind of make your stamp, and this one does it in, I guess, the robot, cyborg type of way. Guys, this is a total homage to movies like Terminator. And really, it just feels like one of those forgotten movies from the early 80s. Like you would swear this movie came out in the 1980s just because of the 16 millimeter vibe. And I believe they even shot the movie in 16 millimeter all the way down to like the locations, the practical effects. But as far as Christmas goes too, you know, thinking back to like the original Black Christmas, there is just an undeniable Christmas charm to this movie with the set design and especially the colors, the color palette. And it's draped in, you know, snow. There's snow all throughout this movie when they're outside. So I'd say this is one of the better movies in terms of like great Christmas atmosphere. Now, the overall tone of this movie, at face value, I thought this was gonna be silly just because it's, you know, it's a robot Santa. And I thought there was gonna be a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor along the way, but they play this pretty damn straight, and the characters bring their own natural humor like you would in, you know, everyday conversation, you know? It's not really tongue-in-cheek. I love that they played it as serious and straight as possible with the Santa Claus. You're one line away from it falling on its face and being completely silly, but they never do that. They play it straight the whole way, all the way down to the cops. And by the way, Jeff Daniel Phillips, I love Jeff Daniel Phillips. And he plays like the police chief or the sheriff or whatever. Automatically, you're comparing this to movies like Terminator, you know, and you remember how the Terminator just went through the cops like it was nobody's business. Great music, like synthy type score. Not just synthy, but catchy. You know, they really chose some great musical cues, especially when the action really ramps up. And also, really, I guess, sealing the deal and making this movie feel like an 80s movie is right down to the practical effects. I don't believe I counted any CGI in this movie. It was all practical, and some of the practical looked very fake, but in the best way, because it automatically made me think of those early 80s movies like Sleepaway Camp, where it's obvious that, you know, the props are fake, but that just adds to the charm, and that's what this movie does. Now, as far as any cons, I don't think this is for everybody. I think this is definitely for, you know, dyed-in-the-wool horror fans. There is a lot of profanity, and I say that because some people might not like a lot of profanity, like Rob Zombie type movies. I can kind of compare this to, like, what if Rob Zombie directed a movie, but he had somebody else write the script for him, but his only caveat was, okay, but we're leaving the fucks in there? That's the kind of thing here, because the writing is fantastic and natural, and these two characters, they just happen to use profanity a lot. I know a lot of people like this in my life, so this didn't bother me at all, but I'm saying some people, it might turn them off a little bit. And I'm not going to go into any spoilers, but there is, I guess, something in the last act. I'll just say maybe a little bit overkill in a certain aspect, and I won't really go into any details, okay? But again, this is probably the best Christmas horror movie I've seen in quite a long time. It is so freaking good. And the tempo, the pace of this movie is just very gradual, and you just fall in love with these characters, and then it just builds and builds and builds, and all that is through the direction and the music. And you know, you can tell that a lot of care and love went into the stunts and the sets and everything. This is my kind of freaking Christmas movie, okay? I love Christmas horror, and this is when it's done right. And to me, this is like the best kind of Christmas horror. This movie almost has like a heartbeat to it. So, Trapped on a Freaking Island, okay? This movie, I was shocked at that, but yeah, Trapped on an Island. Definitely check this movie out as soon as you can. I think it comes to Shudder on Friday. Can't wait to see what you guys think of it. Let me know down in the comments. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day on Fridays. We do Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on all my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. And you guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Drumdum out.